Good morning, everyone. The time is 9:30. We're going to call the August 9th meeting of the Millcreek Township Board of Supervisors to order. Would you please rise for the pledge to the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Shaw, we have an agenda amendment. Would you please go over that?
Yes, we have, before we get started with the agenda, there's one item to be added in accordance with Section 712E of the Right to Know Law. Under that section, upon a majority vote of the individuals present and voting during the conduct of a meeting, an agency may add a matter of agency business to the agenda. The reasons for the changes shall be announced at the meeting before any vote is conducted to make the changes to the agenda. The agency may then subsequently take official action on the matter that has been added to the agenda. The agency shall post the amended agenda on the agency's publicly accessible internet website if available, and at the agency's principal office location no later than the first business day following the meeting at which the agenda was changed. The item to be added to the agenda is the resolution establishing an intermunicipal agreement with the City of Erie and the County of Erie for purposes of outlining an agreement for allocation of grant monies from a justice assistance grant. This came in the middle of the day yesterday. We did not anticipate it, but it needs to be approved. So I would recommend approving this amendment and adding it to the portion of the agenda after Resolution R35. So this would be Resolution R36.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Does that require action at this point, or just?
Yes.
Okay.
Need a motion and a vote.
All right. Is there a motion to on the agenda amendment?
I'll make a motion to approve
Second.
that amendment.
Okay. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clare?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item 3 is public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Okay. Moving on to approval of the minutes from the July 26th regular meeting. Any comments from the board on those minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from July 26, 2022.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clare?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is approval of the bills. Any comments from the board?
Motion to approve the bills.
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clare?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item 6 is bids and quotations. The first item is an articulated loader for Public Works Streets Department. Mr. Donikowski.
Thank you. Good morning. Building Maintenance is seeking approval to purchase a Bobcat L28 articulated loader. This machine will come with 36-inch pallet forks, a general purpose bucket, and a snowblower attachment for use on the township grounds and clearing of the Peninsula Drive sidewalk. One price was received from Bobcat of Erie for $43,070.63, and this is under CoStar's contract 4400-20080. Funds will be taken from the bridge and sidewalk cleaning line of the building maintenance capital budget, leaving a balance of $26,929.37. It is my recommendation to purchase this loader from Bobcat of Erie for the CoStar's price of $43,070.63.
Thank you, Rob. Are we anything in on that, or?
Not. This is a new machine.
Okay, new machine. All right. Any comments or questions from the board?
No, I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clare?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is microphones and accessories for Millcreek Police. Mrs. Clare, will you handle that?
Yes, I will. Sorry about that. I don't know why that wasn't coming up. There we are. Thanks. The remaining SWAT donated funds for the microphone project is for the approval of 15 Avon gas mask internal microphones from Uniform Outfitters, LLC. for the price of $2,931.45. Again, this comes from the SWAT donated funds. And I'll make a motion for approval of the Avon gas mask microphones.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clerk?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is Resolution 2022 R34, resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015 R20 in the Municipal Records Manual to approve proposed disposition of certain township records. This month we are disposing of Millcreek PD dash cam video between August 10th and August 23rd of this year due to reaching the end of the required retention period. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is Resolution 2022 R35. This establishes an intermunicipal agreement with the City of Erie for the purpose of outlining the responsibilities, obligations, and interactions between the Township's Police Department and the Erie Police Department for the 2022 Celebrate Erie event. Mr. Shaw.
Yes, this is a resolution that's necessary when the township enters into municipal agreements with other municipalities. In this case, the Township of Millcreek, Erie County, Pennsylvania, establishing an intermunicipal agreement with the City of Erie and the County of Erie for purposes of outlining an agreement for allocation of grant monies from a Justice Assistance Grant. It's my understanding that the City of Erie was awarded this grant in the amount of $63,459 from the Department of Justice. The grant typically gets allocated between Millcreek and the City of Erie equally, in which case each would be allocated $31,729.50. Again, I would recommend that this resolution be approved and the agreements executed.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Any questions from the board? Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion to approve the RCAP application.
I'll second.
This
I'm
would
sorry,
be the-
just real quick, that wasn't the RCAP application, it was the Justice Assistance
Justice,
Grant
right.
resolution.
Oh, thank you very much.
So we have a motion and a second. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item, number 9, the RACP application for the Gateway District Development. Mr. Waldinger?
Thank you. Good morning. Millcreek Township was fortunate to be awarded $500,000 in 2021 RACP funding for the gateway improvements on West 8th Street, and we would like to thank the governor for recognizing the importance of this project. In order to leverage that award and to assist with bringing the full vision of the corridor improvements to reality, Planning and Development is looking to submit an application for the 2022 round of RACP funding. This would require the board to authorize Planning and Development to submit the application and for the chairman to sign a worker protection and investment certification form. It's my recommendation that the board authorize the chair to sign the required form, which is in front of you right now, which pledges that the township will comply with all applicable labor and workplace safety laws in relation to any use of the grant funds. I also ask that you authorize me in the capacity of Director of Planning and Development to submit an application for RACP funds on behalf of the township.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions on this application?
I just wanted to thank Mr. Waldinger for all of the work that you've done for the application. So thank you very much. It's we're keeping our fingers crossed, and hopefully it'll come through. Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I'll second Dan.
Thank you. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item 10 is the FCC license renewal. Ms. Caparosa?
Thank you, Chairman Olet. This involves the township has a number of radio licenses for public safety, and one of them is coming due for expiration on the 10th, so tomorrow. I have reached out to the FCC regarding how we're able to go about that renewal. It is of at no cost to the township because we are a government agency. Per my conversations with Chief Height, we're not currently actively using these bandwidths, but if we let them expire, we lose them and we'd have to reapply for them if there ever came a need for them. So this would just be whether the board wishes to renew them, authorizing me to go ahead with filing the renewal.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the board on the FCC license renewal?
Now I'll make a motion to approve the FCC renewal.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item 11 is the financial security release request for the Greenleaf Corporation. Mr. Waldinger?
Thank you. As you're aware, Millcreek Township requires developers to post financial security for developments that they are proposing to cover any required public improvements such as stormwater management facilities and sidewalks. There was a land development approved for Greenleaf Corporation was to build an airport hangar in the airport property. As of yet, Greenleaf has not built their hangar. As part of our financial security agreements with all developers, they are required to notify us if their bank chooses not to renew a letter of credit or financial security to the township. We did receive that notice from Key Bank that they were not going to renew the current letter of credit. We did contact Greenleaf and ask them what they wish to do. They would either need to complete the project, provide us with new security, or withdraw the project. They chose to provide the township with a new form of financial security. They have in place, as of today, First National Bank irrevocable letter of credit number STB 46.0 in the required amount of security. So at this time, I would ask the board to release the previous form of security, the Key Bank letter of credit number S327107, in the amount of $23,375, as it has been replaced with a First National Bank letter of credit for the same amount.
Thank you. Any comments from the board? Is there a motion to approve the security release?
Motion to approve the security release?
Is there a second?
I'll second, Dan.
Hey, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Moving on to communications, Treasurer Communications. Mark, anything?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. We have a hiring request for Parks and Recreation Department. Mr. Bach?
Thank you. We have a request from Ashley Marsteller, our Director of Parks and Recreation, to rehire a seasonal employee in the summer day camp program to help finish the season after she had finished her internship. The pay rate as a day camp counselor for Cassie Cataldi is $13 an hour. I'd like to make a motion for approval to rehire Miss Cataldi for the rest of the season.
Okay, is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the Cato Picnic. On Thursday, August 25th, there are 2 attendees at $17.50 per person. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Clear?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Executive sessions were held on July 28th and August 3rd to discuss various legal issues. Moving on to Solicitor Communications, Mr. Shaw.
Nothing on my end. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to citizens to be heard. Just want to read a quick statement here to the group. Prior to accepting comments for today's meeting, I want to establish some ground rules. First, we believe there are several issues that will be commented upon during this meeting, and we would like to take them in order. I know there are several of you, or probably the majority of you, that are here regarding the animal enforcement officer issue. Is there somebody here that is a spokesperson or Anyone that's... Is that a yes? I saw somebody waving in the back. Okay. Let me finish up here real quick first. Thanks. We'll start with this group first. Once we have completed that group, we will see who is left. Here are the rules which the public comment period will be governed. Under our meeting rules, an individual has up to 5 minutes to speak. In addition, each speaker must identify themselves to provide their address for public comment. We ask that the speakers be respectful and succinct. We also ask that your comments not be the same as the persons who have gone before you. In addition, given the number of people intending to speak, we ask that the speakers be limited to the residents and taxpayers of Millcreek Township. We will allocate a total time period of 30 minutes for comments on this issue. We also remind you that if you would like to speak in private with one of the supervisors regarding this issue, but are not comfortable speaking in public, a supervisor will be available to speak with you privately. In addition, before we get to your comments, the board wants you to understand that the incident continues to be reviewed and evaluated. Sir, please come forward. Thank you. Good. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tyler Nowosielski. My name is Tyler Nowosielski. I am not a resident of Millcreek Township, but I am the designated spokesperson. I come before you today to voice my concern over an incident that occurred on July 29th that involves one of your township employees, Animal Control Officer Richard Donald Lyle. At 1:07 p.m. on July 29th, someone reported that a, quote, not shy at all cat wandered into her home and had made herself comfortable. This person notified a local missing animal Facebook page that this cat had been spotted and was in her home. You have pictures in front of you, and I would like to point out that there were no visual signs of parasitic infestation, no fleas, no ticks, and most certainly no visual evidence of a rabies infection. Usually in furious forms of rabies, you will see drooling, dilated pupils, and the cat will start biting at objects or nearby animals. In the paralytic forms, you would notice poor coordination, hind limb weakness, and cats may meow excessively. There were no reports that this cat had been walking abnormally or had harmed anyone or any animal. The cat appeared healthy and normal looking. At 2:34 p.m., a call was placed to Animal Control Officer Rich Lyle. At 3 p.m., he arrived on scene to the homeowner's house, and there is video evidence where the homeowner tells the officer, quote, the cat was very sweet, to which ACO Rich Lyle responded, quote, yeah, well. 39 seconds later, ACO Rich Lyle is seen taking the cat out of the homeowner's house by the use of a catch pole. The cat is seen violently thrashing around and can be heard screaming loudly. ACO Rich Lyle takes the cat back to his vehicle, all by holding it by its neck and noose. On Monday, August 1st at 11:15 a.m., someone reports that they are looking for this cat and that they went to the Erie Humane Society to locate the cat, but the Humane Society never received the cat. Also on Monday, it is reported that the individual that was looking for this cat went to Millcreek Police Department and spoke with ACO Rich Lyle and his supervisor after not receiving a return call. According to this individual, ACO Rich Lyle admitted to using his department-issued handgun to take the life of this cat, and after doing so, admitted to disposing of the cat in a dumpster. Millcreek Township Ordinance, Chapter 8, Section 2 indicates that any animal that is seized by the animal control officer and the owner is unknown will be released to an approved shelter. Since ACO Rich Lyle, Millcreek Township, or Supervisor Kim Clear cannot confirm where the deceased cat was disposed of, ACO Rich Lau is also in direct violation of Pennsylvania Title 25 Environmental Protection, Section 243, Chapter 11. The carcass of a dead animal is not killed for food, shall be removed and disposed of by burial or incineration or other sanitary method within 24 hours of death. By law, according to the Rabies Prevention and Control Act of 1913 and 1929, Title 7, Chapter 16, Section 21, a veterinarian physician or public health officer who suspects that an animal may be infected with rabies shall report that suspicion to the Department of Agriculture. If ACO Rich Lau suspected that this cat was host to animal-borne illness, as stated by Millcreek Township themselves, and was euthanized based on these suspicions, where is the PA rabies compliance testing submission form sent to the Department of Agriculture, and on what date and time was this deceased cat transported to the rabies testing facility? By law, ACO Rich Lau is commanded by the Department of Agriculture to subject this diseased cat to a rabies testing facility for an official rabies test. In speaking with rabies, there were 0 reported rabies cases documented in Erie County since the start of this year, and if you look at the United States as a whole, no human has contracted rabies from a cat in over 40 years, and only 2 human-related rabies cases have been attributed to cats since 1960. Although concern for public health is a prime consideration, the emotional value of an animal cannot be overlooked. This cat was clearly loved by those in the community, and someone simply wanted this cat to reach a humane shelter by means of an animal control officer. This township has some explaining to do, and an investigation should be conducted to determine not only if Animal Control Officer Rich Lau's methods are ethical, but if he was even following the law. If you don't want to answer the public today, I am sure you will need to answer to the Department of Agriculture and the PA Department of Health.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me? Good morning. My name is Nicole Leone. I am the Executive Director for the Erie Humane Society. I am also a resident of Millcreek Township. My address is 3136 Morning Sun Court, and the Erie Humane Society is located at 2407 Zimmerly Road. So I'm here today as an advocate for the protection and appropriate handling of stray pets in our community. The Erie Humane Society has had a long-standing relationship that dates back clear to 2009 with Millcreek Township. Millcreek officers are provided 24-hour access to the EHS facility, in addition to emergency telephone numbers to contact staff after hours and in cases where they feel they need assistance. We have always been available to provide support and ensure stray animals are safely housed and cared for, and in more recent cases, our shelter has not been utilized. While EHS does not employ the ACO, it is my belief that when the township is hiring someone to work with animals, that the officer chosen should have the aptitude to provide a duty of care to help keep their community safe, but to also act responsibly and with compassion in helping to protect stray animals and afford them the opportunity to be reunited with their families. This can be done by bringing them to the Erie Humane Society, where we take over their care and we ensure that they receive any medical care and a warm bed while searching for their families. You can also see that Erie Animal Network puts many posts up where they try to reunite families, and all of the shelters in the community try to do the same. This standard of care was not provided to Berkeley. The officer responsible was careless in his handling of this poor pet. He's captured in video inappropriately using equipment that is likely strangling or could have snapped the neck of this cat. This video is devastating from an animal welfare organization's perspective, as it makes us suspicious and fearful that practices like this have been occurring more often than just with Berkeley. For Berkeley's sake and the sake of safeguarding pets, the township needs to make a serious change. Nothing positive is going to come from a situation like this unless the township seriously investigates the protocols and procedures, how their ACO and other officers are handling stray pets. A better system of checks and balances also needs to be instituted. It should not be an easy common practice to shoot an animal. The Erie Humane Society can help. We can be an educational resource to provide officers training on the safe way to handle stray pets, in addition to training officers on utilizing equipment correctly and responsibly. We do not want our residents in Millcreek Townships to feel as though if they call an ACO or an officer, that pet is going to have a death sentence. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ruth Thompson. I do live in Millcreek Township. I'll give my address, but please don't bring animals to my house. 301 Stewart Way in Erie, or Millcreek Township. I'm also the director and founder of the Anna Shelter. We have a great working relationship with not just the Humane Society, but all the other, there are fantastic animal welfare organizations in our area. I've spoken to a few of you privately, as well as some state legislators, on the incident that happened. We want to put ourselves out there as well. I'm glad Nicole brought up the education. I think that's probably one of the areas that's lacking most, is people that take these jobs that don't have any experience in animal handling. If we can be a resource, if we can help so this doesn't happen again. As I spoke to a few of you privately, the whole thing was unprofessional, inappropriate, and an animal's life was lost because of it. So if we can spare another animal from having the same fate due to lack of education, not really sure what the breakdown was on this incident, but if there's anything we as the Anna Shelter can do in coordination with any of these other groups and all these other people that are here to speak on this animal's behalf, I want to put it out there that we are also available. Thanks.
Unfortunately, I may repeat a few things. My name is Mary, Morning. My name is Mary Grace. I'm the Executive Director of Orphan Angels. I am a Erie City resident, but I do work in Millcreek at 5439 West Lake Road, Erie, Pennsylvania, 16505. I just wanted to touch a little bit more personally on the topic, but also I do represent the shelter. In my experience while working in a vet clinic, doing own personal rescuing and being very hands-on executive director, I have been exposed to thousands of cats in many different settings. I feel it's important for us to discuss a stray cat versus a feral. A stray cat has been socialized to people. They have lived indoors at times, and they allow people to touch them. However, they may be wary and frightened if they spend too much time without a positive human interaction. A feral is an unsocialized outdoor cat who has never had physical human interaction, or human interaction has diminished over enough time that they no longer are accustomed to it. Understanding the many degrees of socialization can help with determining how to handle and care in the best way. A stray may approach people, even houses. A feral may not approach, seek hiding places. However, being frightened, a stray or even an owned indoor cat may act like a feral, and that is the huge concern here. Our cats could have gotten out, our own personal animals have gotten out and had been treated this way, but regardless, this animal should have never been treated the way he was. Ferals may avoid people, not want to be touched during stressful times, such as trapping, shelter environments, or in this case, a catch pole. Berkeley was approachable. He enjoyed human interaction. He approached people's houses. After he asked for loving pets, scratches, and he even got up on laps. Until the catch pole was introduced into his life, he displayed no signs of being feral. It is important to watch the footage of Berkeley being removed from a concerned community member's home. He was described as, quote, friendly, and that this should be, quote, easy. It is important that to know that Berkeley had many people caring for him, that have pet him and have loved him while in their laps. It is also important to acknowledge his body condition and how clean and kept he was. The statements of his health and the behavior are nothing but an excuse. But why? What was there to gain? No matter the answer, it was wrong. He was a possible rabies case, but the protocols were not followed. Were the people that were exposed to him recommended to go through the proper rabies protocols and contacted the health department? What body aftercare protocols were taken? A dumpster? This was just simply wrong. Rich Lyle's position, somebody who has it, should know that parasites and maggots can be treated. A catch pole should very rarely, if ever, be used, and if never, ever around a cat's neck. That way that it was used on Friday, July 29th around 3:01 p.m. was not the proper use for neither a cat or a dog. A diagnosis was determined within seconds and a life was taken within minutes. However, even prior to approaching Berkeley, Lyle had already decided his fate. The home was entered with a catch pole before even knowledge of his behavior. Possible fatal injuries could have occurred while being dragged and dangled. The empathy, humanity, and compassion simply did not exist anywhere during this interaction. I urge someone with animal behavior training, understanding of assistant equipment use, and affinity be the one in this position for our community animals. Orphan Angels will not rest easy until we know that no other animal, cat or dog, feral or friendly, sick or healthy, will ever be exposed to this type of misread, hateful, calculated, destructive, and maliciousness ever again. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Carrie, and I am a resident of Millcreek Township. First of all, I've been asked a few times if I'm sick today. I'm not, but I do have an immediate family member that's immunocompromised. That's why I wear a mask. I'll pull it up a little just so hopefully you can hear me better. I'm here today to express my concerns about the animal control incident. Though much information has been shared already, what I have to say regards my experience with both animal control and rescue as they relate to the euthanization of this cat, as well as the disturbing accounts that were shared with the public. First and foremost, the amount of disinformation that was shared on social media should have been addressed by the supervisors long before this meeting was scheduled. The stories that were shared by multiple individuals were changed, so many times that readers were responding to each and every comment as though it were fact. Several individuals stated that there was one owner. When readers asked why this individual was unable to be reached or provide records of the cat's supposed state of health, that story changed as well. Another reader stated that they knew the owner and they were out of town for over a week on vacation and could not be reached. Another post stated that it was a neighborhood cat and that multiple people were taking care of and looking after it. Someone stated that the animal control officer said that he was taking it to the Humane Society, but could not provide proof of how exactly that quote was obtained from the officer. A majority of posts insisted that the cat was healthy, but admitted that the cat was a stray and that no one had taken it to a veterinarian or a care center to establish ownership or responsibility of any kind. Another stated that a neighbor's cousin had intended to take it to the Humane Society, but they didn't get home in time, so the individual whose house the cat entered uninvited called animal control to remove the cat after allowing it to stay in her home for several hours. The very first photo that was shared of this cat, taken before the incident, showed the cat had a wound on its face, which was later replaced with other cat pictures, particularly after it was said that a lieutenant from Millcreek Police Department told a caller that the animal control officer said that he reported the incident in full, to include the cat had injuries, infection, and parasites present. The end goal and results of these posts appeared to solely support an end game of getting as many people enraged by these allegations and to discourage and threaten others who might have a different viewpoint, and to come here to argue facts for an incident where none of them were present to witness firsthand. For as many people want to sit here and claim that they cared for this animal, not one person stepped up to look for it, claim it, take it to a veterinarian, get it vaccinated, be responsible for its whereabouts, or any other level of concern that might suggest responsibility. There is a saying in feral cat and animal circles that states, if you feed them, you breed them. Feeding stray animals is a guarantee that an animal will not stray far from that food and will in fact attract other wild animals of the same breed and others to multiply in that location, often creating both a nuisance and a threat to neighboring properties, people, and pets. Feeding and taking pictures of an animal do not constitute proper care. In the case of cats, the only thing close to proper care for unowned cats are trap-neuter release colonies that are managed by established nonprofits. I would like to suggest that the township consider an ordinance delineating ownership responsibilities and that citizens be held accountable for those ownership responsibilities if they make a choice to feed them and encourage stray cats and dogs to congregate in any area. And despite the dismissive comments that were made by another rescue in Erie that there was very little chance that this cat had rabies, we all know that a chance is a possibility that must be considered regardless. What was not mentioned,
Please be respectful.
I would like to be heard.
Everyone has a chance to be heard here. Thank
What
you.
was not mentioned is that every professional knows that rabies can in some cases present with unusually affectionate behaviors. It's my turn to talk. It's my turn.
Order, please.
It's my turn.
Excuse me. Please let the woman speak.
Insisting that the cat was healthy and therefore could not have rabies is about as short-sighted as saying that healthy people can't get COVID and they don't need vaccinations either. Secondly, I'm not going to get my time. Secondly, this is important, I would like to discuss the township's use of its one animal control officer. Prior to his tenure, the township did not respond to calls about cats. I called a couple of times over the years, and it just was not done. And the reason that I was told was that there was not enough resources. That was disappointing, but the reasons were understandable. Now, not only does the township insist on sending their one officer to all calls about cats, but have established a contract by which his position is used for transport to the Erie Humane Society. While I think responding to stray calls for cats is nice, I think that the original reasons for why it wasn't done are very much still a problem in Millcreek Township. My concern is that with only one officer, this job cannot be done in a timely or effective manner. Nor does he have all of the training, tools, and equipment that he should have to handle these kinds of calls. In addition, in all the places that I have lived over the years, I have never seen animal control officers contracted to assist with animal rescues. I feel that it's a direct conflict to his primary job, particularly in the case where a stray animal presents a health risk or a danger to residents or other pets.
Okay.
Thirdly,
Gary, your time is up. Thank you. Thank you.
There's more.
I know. Thank you.
I would like more time because I was interrupted.
We did establish, excuse me, we did establish a 5-minute rule. You went over, we gave you an extra allotment of time. Your time is up. Thank you.
That's because I was interrupted. How much time?
You have your 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, please be respectful. Thank you.
Good morning. I will keep this brief. I am a Millcreek resident. I live on Robin Hood Lane, and I'm on the board of directors of Erie Animal Network. I feel I need to respond to the last speaker. Erie Animal Network takes in essentially a lot of abandoned cats. We take in the cats that are injured, we take in the cats that are sick, and cats that aren't always the sweetest, kindest cats in the world. We've handled, over the years, probably 5,000 cats. At no time has any of them been injured or killed with a catch pool. We use proper protocols, we have training, and we do the best we can. A cat is not, it is absolutely inappropriate for a cat to be shot for parasites, for fleas, or anything like that. In my role as on the board, I also oversee the medical care of the animals as well. I used to be, I'm an attorney now, but I was a veterinary technician, and I can tell you there's no way that this animal control officer looked at this cat and could diagnose it with rabies, diagnose it with parasites, and say it was so flea infested that it needed to be put down. My fear is, and I have not seen the videos, is that when he pulled this cat up by the pole, is that he crushed its trachea or broke its neck. That is devastating. That is not a way for an innocent animal. I don't care if it's feral, if it's a cat with rabies or any other cat, that is not appropriate. A cat, when you're trained as a veterinary technician or animal handler, you're trained that a cat is always going to fight back when you handle it. They are not like a dog that will eventually submit. A cat, that is their instinct. So when he took that pole, put it around its neck, the cat did everything it could to fight back. And the one thing that I find a little bit upsetting is that I know that there is training for humane officers and other officers, but I'm concerned about the training that this officer and others get regarding the handling of cats. What I could find, and I know this just from my own training, is that catch poles are not used on cats, or they're used very rarely. The closest I could find, because I don't have a lot of time, I have a lot of practice, was Kentucky has an animal control training manual, and I'll just give one copy. It clearly says do not lift an animal off the ground, period. This is from the Kentucky Animal Control Advisory.
Thank you.
His standard, he fell below the standard of care when he did that to that cat. Plain and simple. Not bringing, if the cat had rabies, not as that gentleman stated, clearly the cat should have been brought in for testing. Even if you thought the cat had rabies, the cat can be observed. Erie Humane Society would have had space to do that. Erie Animal Network has a space to do that. Everything possible went wrong with this cat. We implore you as a community to do something. I'm a cat owner, I'm a dog owner, currently a temporary tortoise foster. And I am terrified if one of my animals gets out, what this man is going to do to them. That is not okay. I don't want to go home to my 13-year-old son and say, his cat got out, freaked out, and this officer shot him. How would you like to tell that to your child? Please, take this seriously. Investigate. Take the proper protocols. We need someone we can trust in our community that can handle animals that might be lost, on the loose, or even feral, because even our innocent feral cats should not be treated like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ma'am, before you get too far, what is your name for the record?
Andrea Amicangelo.
Thank you, Andrea.
Good morning. My name is Patricia Eichen, and I live in Washington Township, which is outside of Edinburgh. I am here today to speak on behalf of myself as a volunteer with the Anna Shelter for 10-plus years. Ruth may tell you it's more than that, and maybe it is. I lost track. I'm here also to speak on behalf of the volunteers of all the rescue organizations. We give of our time and our compassion and our love to help these nonprofits to bring in these stray animals who need compassionate care. They need rescued, rehabilitated, and rehomed. We are there to help these animals. This whole incident sickens myself as well as the Erie community. As a volunteer, I will not stop helping animals because that's who I am. That's who I am as a human and as a compassionate person. Please, please do what is right for the animals in this community. Thank you.
Hello, can everybody hear me? Yes. Hi, my name is Eric Duckett. I'm the Animal Cruelty Officer at the Anna Shelter. I cover... So I cover all of Erie County and Crawford County as well, so I think it's about 3,000 square miles. And not only as an animal cruelty officer, but we also assist with different animal enforcement agencies here around Erie, Crawford County, Erie County. And I think it's important to say that animals that are strays, stray dogs, stray cats, these are not your animals that are in your house. They're not running around wagging their tail. Even house cats, they'll hide from strangers. But it takes a lot of compassion to deal with these animals. You're not just going up to an animal that's running down the street and you're not just going to catch the animal. So the approach that he took when he went into that house was wrong. His attitude from the very beginning was wrong. He had no compassion for that animal. He basically gave the woman, the middle finger when he went there. If I was in his position, I wouldn't have even pulled my catch pole or my rabies pole or my come along out of the car. That's always last case scenario, especially with a cat. I think in the 5 years I've been doing this job, I might have used mine 3 or 4 times, and that's always in extreme feral conditions with cats that are, it's last case scenario to catch an animal. In fact, I probably would have asked the woman, had I went to pick up that cat, hey, that cat's friendly with you, would you mind trying to put that cat in the carrier for me? Because the cat will react differently to me than if she's used to that animal. So that's something, I'm more than willing to spend some time. If you guys need some assistance helping train somebody, I'm more than willing to give my time. I'm willing to work with other shelters who are willing to give their time on how to deal with these animals, how to catch an animal properly. It's certainly not to lift an animal up by its neck. So. Thank you.
Well, since we're going outside of the county, I work with all the animal organizations as a volunteer. I've done it for 15 years, so a significant amount of people know me. I've worked with feral cats for many years. I've done lots of different types of rescue. And what I want to address is blaming the cat for its death that this lady brought up. So I'm not going to witch hunt her, but I'm just going to respond. Blaming a cat for being a stray when cats have lived among us for thousands of years, free roaming, and then blaming, I'm not looking at you. Blaming a cat for doing what it does and being free roaming among us and taking the weight off of a person who has very little empathy and this job is just, it's been very taxing on my brain about this. And the people who are like, blame the cat and this, and keyboard warriors who are medical professionals, they're not medical professionals either, and neither was this officer to make such a snap judgment. I question whether this person has the ability to even work with cats, because to me, it seems that they had hatred already walking into this situation. A person gets a call about a friendly stray cat and they don't bring a carrier and they walk in so nonchalantly. This makes me question how many times this happened before. And to discuss about ferals and breeding, there are so many volunteers out there trying to help curb the population so that we have less euthanasia in the shelters, not euthanasia at a dumpster with a gunshot wound to the head. And if you're not aware, there is a petition for the firing, and I hope prosecution of this officer. So for every person that you see here, there's probably 25 signatures. So each person here represents, minus this one lady, each person represents 25 people who are concerned, who know about this case. And this has been reported. You know, you will have to answer to different agencies. So what I'm asking you to do is please use your heart. Don't worry about votes. Don't worry about your jobs. Don't worry about, popularity or what's going on. Do the right thing, because I know that in your heart, you know that this situation was very wrong, and those who mistreat animals this way and have such lack of compassion eventually move to humans. So let's please use an ounce of prevention rather than a pound of cure. Who can do this job? And for the record, my name is Dorothy Butala.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Samantha Randall. I am not a resident of Millcreek. I am of Erie. I own and operate a gourmet vegan bakery, and I am an animal advocate. I work with all of the shelters and nonprofits here, and I want to start by saying that it wasn't euthanasia, it was murder, just straight up murder. This man, what training does he have? Do you guys have the paperwork on what training he received before getting this position? Do you held like a government type position? Because this man is sadistic and disturbing, and this is an isolated incident that we have proof that we've seen this. So I want to know on how many other occasions did this happen with this person, that people, they may not be as compassionate as I am or as enraged as I am, that he's done this to multiple animals. He needs to be fired, because this is going to happen again. And myself and all of my nonprofits that I donate to religiously to support and help them in any way possible, they have the funds, the means, and the people that can be facilitated, like in the human world. There needs to be a social worker that comes in before the cops come in to prevent certain situations, to calm people down, talk people down. Task force needs to be the same implemented in this, where you call a shelter person that's on a task force to come in if this man who somehow retains his position is out there and out and about, taking animals' lives because he believes that he has the power to do so. We need to have people that know what they're doing, because I just feel that whoever you hire next, I need to know what type of training they're receiving, because if this ever happens again, that's you're going to get a big problem. I would also like to know when he's going to be charged criminally for murdering an animal also. I have sheltered and rescued and fostered multiple animals in my life. I do it day in and day out. I started my business simply to help all the animals, to save them all, to end speciesism, to understand that they all deserve the same compassion and equality that we receive, but in this township, that was not held the same really as humans, and I need something to be done about this, because if nothing's done about this, you have thousands of people that are going to demand something to be done about it regardless. So.
Thank you. Okay, this will be the last person to speak on behalf of this issue.
My name
you
is
can
Albert
decide
Smith.
who's going to speak.
My name is Albert Smith, and I'm a retired soldier. I spent years as a soldier, and I had a tour of Afghanistan where we were training the Afghan police. And in our training, we were taught that you start with the lowest amount of force used to subdue whoever you're trying to take down. And the deadly force is absolutely the last and only act of desperation, which I don't see that having been done here any whatsoever. So I believe there's a huge training issue going on with this, and there's also a huge attitude issue going on with this. The person you've selected for this job is not properly suited for this job, both training-wise and attitude-wise. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir.
He carried from the back garage door around to the driveway and stuck it in the cage in the car, and couldn't get the noose off the cat. The cat was bleeding at the mouth. Yes, he lived. I have him. He lived. So anyhow, he said the cat bit him. He had thick black gloves on. The cat did not bite him that I saw. The cat was scared. He was 7 months old, I'm assuming at the time, because he was about 2 months old when I started feeding him and working with him when he had come with the mother. I planned on doing the trap and release, but after that incident, the cat wouldn't even let me near him. So I had him, when he noosed him, he put him in a little carry case, because when he said the cat bit him, I knew that was the end of the cat. I said, give me the cat now, and he did. He took it and he slammed it in the carry case, and then I took the cat. It sat in my garage for 2 days in a little tiny carry case, and thank God for Ruth. I believe Ruth helped me at the Inner Shelter. She helped me with the Erie trap and release. I ended up working with the cat after I got him back from the trap and release. He stayed in the cage for 9 days. It was right before Thanksgiving. Worked with the cat, was able to let him out, and he's one of the friendliest cats I know. He's right here, he's alive, and his name is Snickers. That's all I have to say.
Hi, my name is Haley. I live on Berkeley Road. I'm the one that called the officer. When I called with the intent that he would be taken to the Humane Society. That is what it says on the website. When I called, they said there's an officer on call, we will send them to your house. I made sure, because before I called, I looked to see if I could take him myself. Unfortunately, they were closed for cleaning that day. That is why I could not. I made sure, I said, you're going to take him to the Humane Society. That's what's on your website. I got the response, yes, we have keys. When the officer came to my house, I opened the door. I said, the cat is very sweet. I offered to carry that cat into the car. He would not let me. He said, no, I do not want you to get hurt, which I understand if that's your procedure, but I offered. That cat did not deserve to be hung and carried out of my door. Before that officer took him out of my house, all I can think is I gave him food, I gave him water, and I gave him love. And that is what he got in his last hours. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Candy Weigel. I live on Berkeley, I reside at Berkeley Road, my father's house. I'm trying to buy it. So, I found the cat on July 4th. I thought I recognized it as being somebody else's cat. So, it was very friendly. I picked it up, I fed it, and I put it in a crate, easily went into the crate, and I went down to 32nd and Evanston where there was a poster, called the number on the poster, and left a message, and I got a text back saying, I found my cat a while ago. So I took the cat back home, and I cared for the cat for about 2 weeks. My two neighbors that are co-owners of the cat, co-caretakers, helped me with the cat after they came home from vacation. They were both gone. So the first 2 weeks that cat was around, he was in and out of my house. He doesn't like to use the litter box because he's not neutered yet. So I have my father's residence and I have my residence, and I needed to pay my taxes by the end of August. There's a reason I'm telling you this. I'm a retired DOC employee. I get paid once a month, and I knew I was going to have to pay my taxes. Therefore, I was going to have to wait till August to make an appointment to get this cat neutered and everything. But I was taking care of this cat. That's why I was called the owner of the cat. But I also have dogs, and when Jen, my neighbor, got home from vacation, I met Jen for the first time. And she's like, is this your cat? Because he was over at her house playing with her kids, and she loved him dearly. And I said, well, I'm taking care of him. You know, he goes in and out of the house because he doesn't like to use the litter box. But he's staying right by my house. I'm feeding him, and he's there every day. But I did have him in my house. He would take naps on my computer, naps on my table, and my dogs were outside all day. And like I said, I'm retired, so I was home. Anyway. So she was going to take the cat, and I was going to pay for his neutering and whatever else he needed. But one day, we overlapped, and we both weren't home. I had to go away and teach a band camp, and she left for vacation before I got home. And I saw the cat on Facebook at 3:56 or something, and I went right to the shelter that night because band camp ended. And they were closed, so I went the next morning, and what was her name? Robin told me that the cat never made it. So I called Millcreek Police, and they gave me an incident number and the voicemail of the animal control officer, and I called, and he never called me. So I came here Monday morning and paid my taxes on 2 properties, my own and my father's, and asked to see him, and they called him back from the road. And talk about misinformation. Yes, misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation on Facebook. Some of that stuff was not completely accurate. But the first thing he told me was, there were no inquiries on this cat all week. And I said, the post was only put up less than 24 hours. You know? It was up like 2 hours before you came and got him. And he said, well, he was seen at Atlantic and he was seen at Ellsworth Avenue. And I'm like, no. And I remember Ellsworth because there's another cat. I said, the Ellsworth cat looks just like him. It could be a sibling. I said, but that's a female named Maggie. So I made a comment on Facebook. And he says, well, we can't have cats roaming all over like that. And I said, he didn't roam. He stayed right in my, right in my area. He was on my front porch every morning. And I had him in my backyard. I had him, he was with me at all times. And then he says, well, he didn't have a collar. And I said, don't most stray animals slip their collars? And then he said, well, he hissed at me and he was aggressive. I said, well, he weighed like 6 pounds. He was not even, he was at that lanky kitten stage where they just, their legs get long and they get cute and skinny like a string bean. And he says, well, he was filled with fleas and ticks and he had maggots in his ears. And I'm like, no, that's not my cat, no. And I said, I don't believe that's our cat. Nope. And then he says, well, he was sickly. And I said, well, so where is he? He says, I had to euthanize him. I said, no, you did not. And he says, I had to. I was floored. I was in shock. I didn't know what to do after that. Actually, I went and paid my taxes afterwards, and I'm like, I don't want him to get any of this money. Nope. I was disgusted. So, he represents, he works with people. Well, he's the bottom of the chain. He needs to be, whoever is in that position needs to have our trust. And you guys, you're the top of the chain or whatever. If we can't trust him, we can't trust anybody in between. But you represent him. So the trust starts at the bottom. Please do the right thing and get rid of this guy. Because I think he's gun happy. He likes to, he must be a good shot. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I'd like to thank Nicole, Ruth, and Eric for offering their assistance in moving forward here with policies, procedures, training, that we're going to take you up on that. This Board of Supervisors is dedicated to resolving this incident and making sure that this does not happen again. I want to thank everybody for, whether you spoke or if you're just here in attendance, thank you for your commitment to improving a system that apparently needs some improvement. So thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just a housekeeping matter. We did receive an email from a Danielle Bartone who asked to have the email, entered into the record, and I would ask the secretary to do so that's reflected as part of the record of this meeting. So,
thank you. Need a motion on that, Mr. Shaw?
No, I think we're fine to do that.
All right. Thank you. There are other community members here that are here to discuss some other issues with the supervisors. Is there someone else here? Sir, come on up.
Mr. Chair, I would suggest maybe if folks who were here for the animal enforcement officer issue wish to leave, now may be a good time to do so then we can let them depart and proceed with our business.
Thank you.
I'm Mike Umpleby, 165 Pinehurst Drive, Cranberry Township, PA 16066. I'll say first, thank you for giving me a minute today. I know this is certainly out of the ordinary. I know that you had a lot of people that wanted to be heard. I appreciate you staying and giving me a chance to speak. Mr. Bach, Mr. Roulette, this is clear. I sent you emails about why I'm speaking. I think you know what this is. I didn't hear from any of you, so I'm going to assume you received my email. Did you want to say something, Mrs. Clear?
I apologize that I did not answer your email.
Thank you.
I just want that to be known right now. I apologize.
It's okay. Thank you for saying so.
Well,
I'm sure you have a lot on your plate.
Yes.
Thank you for saying that. Yes, I'm here about my parents' porch. The matter's not resolved. It's been 9 weeks since my parents sent a certified letter to this board requesting the return of their $1,000 that they paid for a zoning hearing board meeting concerning the porch. As far as we're concerned, none of you has responded to that request. That letter was sent following comments that my family made at the supervisors meeting on May 24th. After all that has transpired over this, I would think that a response from you is warranted. I will remind you that the zoning hearing board meeting was necessary only because Matthew Puz ignored plain language in the zoning ordinance that specifically allowed for the porch that my parents wanted to build. He cited conditions in the saldo that had nothing to do with this, nothing. It should have been an easy, yes, your application is approved, it's $50, thank you very much, have a nice day. It wasn't. That was 18 months ago. So the only thing my parents could do was pay $1,000 to appear before the zoning hearing board. The zoning hearing board and its advisor also ignored the points that we made, that it was plainly allowed. They were rude, confrontational. Jim Perhax mocked me for making the points that we made. So, again, we were denied. The only thing my parents could do was go into litigation, pay an attorney, take it to a judge, rule on this. Took the judge very little time to find in our favor. Well-known law, saldo doesn't apply, specifically allowed. Yes, they can build their porch. You waited until the very last day, 15 minutes left, to then appeal the judge's ruling. And it wasn't until my mother posted on Facebook about everything that was going on that you all voted and finally said, we're going to withdraw our appeal. Okay? We all spoke at that meeting. My dad, my mother, my brother, myself. The only comments that were made directly to my family came from Mr. Bach. He addressed my mother, saying that taking it to social media wasn't the way to handle this. Well, that seemed to be the only thing that made a change. Otherwise, I think we'd still be in litigation. We'd still be fighting with you, still spending money. No apology, no admission that you were wrong from the beginning. You don't want to say it. Well, I'll say it. You were wrong. We were right. I think at some point, somebody in Millcreek realized you were wrong. We've never mentioned this before, but we're aware of it. Someone actually took the time to read the zoning ordinance. And I think somebody realized it didn't say what you thought it said. So you all voted to change the exact wording in the ordinance that allowed them to build their porch. It's been changed. If that's not an admission of you were wrong from the beginning, then I don't know what is. So I'll get back to my parents' request to have their money refunded. Not one of you responded to my parents. You passed this off to Matthew Waldinger, who sent them a letter saying basically that it's not township policy to refund fees. I don't think we need to get into a debate about township policy. After everything that's been done, after everything my parents have been put through, that's a cowardly response at best. And not one of you said it. You passed it off to somebody else. My parents deserve to have their $1,000 refunded. They also deserve a response from you supervisors. You seem to think that because they finally got the permit to build their porch, that this is somehow over. It's not. For us, it's just starting. We waited and waited for litigation to be gone through the process. We waited, spent thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars that they shouldn't have had to spend. None of it. We can't pursue Millcreek Township for the litigation fees. We've looked into it. We can't. That's a shame. But what was right was right. They knew they were right, and they were going to prove that they were right. You can't give back all the time that you have stolen. They should have been sitting on their porch this morning, and yet here we are, still talking about it. You squandered $24,000 of taxpayer money on litigation that wasn't necessary. All Mr. Puz had to do was say, you're right. The zoning ordinance says exactly what you want to do is okay, but that didn't happen. I think giving my parents their $1,000 back is a small price to pay for Millcreek Township. My father's right there. Say something to him. Apologize. Admit you were wrong. Do you have any idea what my family has been through over this? Any idea at all? At the zoning hearing board meeting, Millcreek Township had 3 attorneys in the room. Not one. Not one. Thought for a second, hey, he might be right. We were laughed at, ignored. And yet you don't respond to him. Doesn't he deserve it? Anything? I think he's waited long enough. You owe him at least $1,000. Spent $7,500 more to fight you in court over something that was so simple. Wasn't it simple? Give him an answer. Admit, you were wrong, all of you, from beginning to end. You were either all incompetent or all complicit. You were wrong. Don't ignore him any longer. My mother won't come here anymore, all right? The house is divided. She won't come here anymore. He won't let it go, and I'm not going to let it go. You will never fully understand what you put my parents through. And if you're not going to address this, then I'm going to make sure that the public is aware of it. I haven't done that yet, but we have documents. There's videos of the meeting. I hope maybe one of you went back and looked at that meeting. I'm assuming you didn't. But there's documents for everything. I don't have to make stuff up. You all wrote the story. All I have to do is share it. It's all true. I got documents for everything. Don't wait another day to say you're sorry to that man. Give him back his money. Let us bring closure to this, please. I'm asking you. And I thank you for hearing me today. And I hope that I don't have to come back. But I will. I don't live here. I drove 120 miles to be here today. I'm not going to hide behind the computer sending you emails. That's not going to happen. This is important to me. It's important to my family. Please do something. Don't just ignore them. Thank you.
Anyone else wish? Anyone else? Yep, please come up, sir.
Thanks. My name is Rob Umpleby. I'm a Millcreek resident. I grew up in Millcreek. My children go to Millcreek schools. My fellow Millcreek residents, those present at the meeting today, those watching this live streamed, and those who may follow a YouTube link in the days ahead. I'd like to make you aware of a few facts about our township and let you decide what, if anything, to do about it. In 2021, 2 Millcreek residents of 40 years, Bob and Kathy Umpleby, wanted to build a porch in front of their home. They applied for the permit to do so. Their permit was denied, confident that they were in the right because they knew the ordinances of this township, they knew the relevant law. They paid the mandatory $1,000 to go before a zoning hearing board for Millcreek Township, which inexplicably upheld the decision by the Millcreek Zoning Office to deny the permit. Finally, sure that they were correct, Bob and Kathy Umpleby took the step of paying $7,500 more to take the matter to court, the Erie Appellate Court. And they won. They won easily, and I'll prove it. Document number 11855-2021 in the Court of Common Pleas of Erie, Pennsylvania, Robert Umpleby and Catherine Umpleby v. Millcreek Township. I'll skip to the last line, written by Judge John J. Mead. The court finds that the board's adjudication, the board meaning the zoning hearing board for Millcreek Township, the board's adjudication was not in accordance with the case law, nor supported by substantial evidence. Appellant's appeal is granted. I'd like to share one other document under Citizens' Right to Know, received May 11th, 2022, with regard to the matter of the zoning appeal of Robert and Catherine Umpleby, paid to McDonald, Illig, Jones, and Britton $13,406.92 by this township to fight these residents, and then again $10,782.40 for a total spent fighting the resident for this porch, which they had every legal right to have, $24,189 and change of our taxpayer money, your money and mine. When we go to the polls to elect Millcreek supervisors in 2023, 2025, and 2027, please join me and ask yourselves 3 questions. 1, the complete body of work that our supervisors have produced, by all means. Second, have the Millcreek supervisors explained to Millcreek taxpayers why they spent $24,000 in an effort to deny a resident a permit that they had every legal right to have as proven in a court of law. Is Millcreek Township still charging its residents $1,000 to appeal an initial decision from the zoning office, even if that decision constituted an error of law? Has Millcreek Township returned to Bob and Kathy Umpleby the $1,000 that they paid to the township to fight for their legal right to simply build a porch? Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much to the time, the people who are present, and thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Umpleby.
My name is Robert Umpleby. I live at 2916 Broadlawn Drive in Millcreek. There's nothing I can say here today that my sons so eloquently said for me. I can only say how disappointed I am at the supervisor's lack of response over the last several months to all of the presentation that we've done. Hurting more than the fact that you continue to refuse to return the $1,000 is the fact that we were right all along in this case, and we have never, not once, received one word of admission of you being wrong, and not one word of an apology for all the trouble that we've gone through. There's just nothing else that I can say anymore. We've said it over and over and over again, and we've not had any response whatsoever other than what was just said a little bit ago. I just, you know, my wife and I, we're just tired of this whole thing, and we want it to go away.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else wishing to address the board under public comment? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. This meeting's adjourned at 11 o'clock.